This is some further work in progress of the ESP8266 multi-role node work that we started doing when we went to buzzconf last weekend. And this is really an extension of that, primarily focused on neopixels, as you can see here. And the idea is to be able to have a node that is very configurable to be able to take mqtt messages from the network to the actual ESP node itself, and then be able to configure its behavior depending on what those messages are doing. So in this case, we've got two neopixel strips here, and we should be able to change the behavior of this node depending on the messages that are coming through from the network. So I'll just start up by sending a stream of color data to this strip down here. So this is on essentially pin 2 on a GPIO 2 that's on the ESP01 here. And that's just cycling through. It's just taking a message every second that's a hex value and setting the strip to this length here, to a particular color, and just cycling that across. So then what happens is over here, you can see the messages are coming through. I've got a bunch of a particular set of topics that I subscribe to on this node, and I send it the hex value just there. What I can then do is set it to use an alternate pin. So in this case, it's using pin 2 right now. So if I change that to pin 0, what will happen, if I pan this out, is it should switch across to the other strip. And you can see that here. You'll also note that at the moment, it's not using the entire strip because we had configured this to use 8 LEDs, because this strip here has 8, whereas this one has, I think, 16 or 17 LEDs. So what we can do is configure that using a different type of message here. And if we set that to 17 in this instance, we'll start using the entire length of the strip, which you can see here. So here you can see we're starting to have this very flexible structure where we can pass messages down and affect the behavior of the node. So the last video showed how we could plug in different peripherals and be able to configure that over the network. And this one is starting to show how we can start to configure the behavior of those peripherals, especially when they are dynamic. And the idea being that we should be able to use these in things like Christmas trees and stuff like that to be able to say, okay, there's different strips and they each have different properties and behaviors that can subscribe to different topics individually and then manage their own behavior over messages from the network. So that's where we're at. And hopefully the next time I show this off, it should be hanging on a Christmas tree, being able to have targeted messages sent to different things that are on those trees.